What's going on, guys? Patrick here, and welcome back to another video. Another video in the 2024 training tutorial series. In this video, we're going to be talking about window film. So I'm going to be going over some of the basics about window film, and just so you have a general guideline and some general knowledge in regards to window film. This one here, this is film from Solar Guard Window Films. It's their Solstice 50, same chassis that they use for the Vortex and the Zenith. Great lineups and things of that nature. So this is what we're going to be using in regards to this video. So most films are going to be similar. I'm just going to go explain it to you. This is a 40-inch roll. Sometimes people get 36-inch rolls. We'll talk about the differences between 36 and 40-inch rolls for back windows and for good use if you guys are just getting started, if you're going to be hand cutting, and those are definitely videos we're going to be doing as well. Or if you're going to be using a plotter, it really kind of just depends on what you're going to be doing, what your budget is. But pretty standard is a 40-inch roll. Sometimes people get 36s, so we'll talk about those as well. But this is a window film. It's a brand new box. Open it up, and basically you can put the outside box inside the small. That's what pretty much everyone does. Brand new boxes, they're usually going to come wrapped up just like this. And when you pull it up, you're just going to open it up, and they usually have end caps just like this as well. You're going to go ahead and remove the end cap here, and they're on both sides. So I'm going to show you guys how to open up a brand new box of window film. Super easy. You want to kind of just tilt it up here, take the end cap off, and what I typically do is I'll go ahead and pull out the stuffing here, and I'll just pull from the top. It'll actually start to undo the bottom, and once the bottom lets go just like that, you can just pull straight down. Make sure you hold on to it, and that's how you get that off. And from here, you can go ahead and just discard it. Oh, I have a trash can. Perfect. I can discard it here. And then now from here, when you're handling window film, it's usually taped off. It's usually taped off like it is right here, but it can do a thing called torpedoing. You see that right there? I can pull the core out and it can start telescoping. You can ruin window film if you're not holding on to the whole roll carefully. So we don't want it to torpedo. You know, if it does torpedo like that, do not grab it on the other end, because now you're just holding on to exposed window film. So you want to kind of hold it in the core. If it kind of torpedoes, kind of shift it back and forth until it gets centered back up here just like this. I like to go ahead and put the cores back in, and then put the film back on the core and put the whole roll back in just like that. And I'd basically use that, and that's how I would definitely use it if we're going to be hand cutting and not using a plotter. This tape, you can go ahead and just take it and throw it off. I do use other tape to be able to tape it back off. Let's talk about where film is and in regards to a liner. When we're pulling out film out of a box, it can be this way, doesn't matter. It could be this way, doesn't matter. But one of the things is which way is the liner facing? Some manufacturers will have the liner out. Some manufacturers have the liner in. It kind of just depends on your manufacturer. To determine which one it is, take a little bit of piece of film out, fold that corner onto itself without creasing it, okay? And notice that it doesn't move. Okay, if you fold it onto itself and it doesn't move, that's film to film. So I know that that's the film side. And if I did it the other way and I try to move it, it will slide. If you fold it over and it slides, that's liner to liner. And if you fold it over and it doesn't slide, that's film to film. So that's a good way of determining which side is the liner side versus the film side without having to pick it off on your teeth and things of that nature. So now that I know this film is rolled, in a way where the liner is on the inside and the exposed film is on the outside. If that's the case, then that means you guys got to be careful. If you guys have film with the film on the outside, not the liner on the outside, you got to be careful when handling this, because this is the film and this is the liner, so there's nothing protecting the film. Some other manufacturers have the liner on the other side, and you can be, if it gets bumped, it's okay. This one you have to just be a little bit more careful. Most window films, standard window films, are going to come 1.5 mil thick. Okay, that's standard window film. There are other window films that come in at 1 mil thick. I would avoid using the 1 mil thick film, I would stick with using a 1.5 mil thick film, because when you're using a 1 mil thick film, there's not a lot of rigidity in it. So especially when you're like doing a Frankenstein, which is an installation for a back window technique, or even a butterfly technique to do an installation for a back window, it's like almost like working with a wet towel. Now, I suggest you go to a 1.5. I believe that 1 mil films are a little bit more cost effective. I'm not bashing 1 mil films. If that's all you can afford and that's all you can get into, more power to you. But at least a 1.5 mil film is going to have a little bit more rigidity. So it's going to be easier to hold, easier to manage, easier to install. 1 mil films, 1 mil films, especially if they have really good adhesive or your slip solution isn't just right, is really easy to crease. So fair warning. And there are some other films like SolarGuard's Vortex and Zenith that are 2 mil thick. So those are definitely a little bit thicker. But you want to stick with at least a 1.5 mil film. And that's all the films that I'm going to be using, because I don't particularly like a 1 mil film. It's just too thin. It's not rigid enough for me. And I could potentially, I don't anymore, but I could potentially have more risk in regards to creasing film during installations and things of that nature. So stick with a 1.5 mil film. When we're talking about window films, there is a direction, and we'll get into this in regards to shrinking, but there is a direction on the window film as you're pulling it out. Right? As you're pulling it out, the direction of shrink for window film can only go this way, and this way. It cannot go it cannot go this way, right? So we'll get into grains of film and the direction of the grain of the film, and when it's acceptable to be able to turn it sideways or plot it normally or cut it normally. We'll get into those when we cross that bridge, but this is a basics here. Once you pull the film out, as you pull the film out, this is the direction that you can shrink. If you try to shrink in this direction, it will crease on you. So, and we'll get into more of that later. We're just kind of doing a brief overview. When you're cutting window film as well, I like to just kind of stay right at that edge. You can use a knife like this. Some people will take a offal blade and come right between the two boxes. Totally up to you, but it's pretty simple. You can keep it on a big table. You can keep it on a peel board. There's other ways you can do it. And I'll show you guys that once we get to that part. So as you pull the film out, the most important thing is, where is my Sharpie? Do I have another one? I think I do. Perfect. As you pull it out, as it pulls out on the box, the direction of shrink is this way. You can only shrink in this direction. Okay, if you shrink in this direction or this direction, no bueno. Okay, so just know that. Let's talk about anything else about window film. This is a 40-inch box. Again, you can get down to 36s as you want. And there's different configurations. You can get down just a 20-inch box and just use that for side windows, for roll-ups, because mostly 20 inches will cover most windows. You can get a 24-inch box so that you can get most like SUVs and minivan windows and truck windows. You can get a 40-inch box and then cut it down the middle yourself, and I'll show you those techniques also. Typically standard, the biggest box of film that you can get would be 100 linear feet. So that's standard. There are some companies, I believe SolarGuard included, that you can do like a 36 or a 40 or even a 20. And then you can also do what's known as cut down rolls. So if you can't get the full 100 feet, I believe they sell them in 25-foot increments. So I could get a 40 by 25 feet or a 40 by 50 feet or 75 or 100. And there's different variances. And you just have to ask your manufacturer what they offer and what they provide. Why is that important? Because because some of these boxes, some of these ceramic boxes will be in the $500, $600, $700 range per box, and some of these boxes could be in the $200 to $300 to $400 range per box. So if you're offering like 3 different shades and they only sold 100 linear feet and couldn't break it down. For example, if it was a $700 box of high-end ceramic and you offer 3 different shades and you're only working with 1 live box and no backup, you're talking $2,100 just to get the film before we've even spent any money. So I'm gonna show you guys, this isn't gonna be a video series where like, if you have 10 grand, I can show you how to be a window tinter. No, I mean, I literally started with 1 box and an Olfa knife and a couple squeegees. I started my entire company with just that and learning how to do videos from YouTube. So I'm gonna teach you guys every which way. If you guys have 10, 15, 20, $30,000 to invest, I'll show you guys, well, you know, what great plotters you can get, what vans you can do, wraps you can do. I'll show you guys how to do entire film series and lineups and the works. And if you only have $500, I can show you guys how to get started with $500. Like, I'm going to show you guys every which way. Realistically, you can probably get an affordable box of film, a dyed or maybe even a carbon for maybe a couple $100 for a box of film, and then you could probably get you know, some decent tools and the tools that you need for maybe $100 to $200. $200 might be on the high end. But yeah, you can start your window tint company with just the film and the tools for like $300 or $400. So that's a really low barrier to entry. And I'll guide you guys, because some manufacturers, you need big purchasing, like opening purchasing orders. Some manufacturers and distributors, they'll sell you 1 box at a time. They'll sell a box to anyone. Anyone that wants to do window tint, they'll give it to them. And some places, you have to be reputable. You have to know what you're doing. And there's reasons why they do that. And we'll go into that when we talk about and discuss, you know, what manufacturer is good for you, what can they provide for you, and how to squeeze out the most you can so that it sets you up for success. Besides that, I don't think that's anything else. And besides window film, I probably another thing that we can talk about is the types of window film. There's dyed films. There's metallized films, which they don't really use a lot anymore. There was hybrid films, which was a mixture of a metallized and dyed film. There's carbon films, there's ceramic films, and then there's like IR ceramic films. So that's pretty much what the lineup is. When I first got into the game, they had dyed films and hybrid films, and they were just starting to come out with ceramic films. So there is a lineup of different types of films, and basically the different types of films would be constructed a little bit differently, but basically the end result is what you're looking for is the further down the trough you go, the better all around heat rejection that you would get. So that's really where the differences of the film in its core and its basis is that we're looking for heat rejection, right? So besides that, you know, we're looking for heat rejection, we're looking for, you know, color stable. Some films like dyed film, some dyed or most dyed films will actually fade over time, will turn purple, will bubble, all kinds of different things. So we'll go into all that detail when we start talking about manufacturers and where to go for a manufacturer, how to shop for a manufacturer, and who to go for film and things of that nature. But this is basically a real basic, you know, overall in regards to window film, what it is, what direction you shrink in it, how to handle it, how to open it, how to close it. How about that one? I usually just take a piece of blue painter's tape and I'll pull a little bit out, a few inches out, tear it off just like this. We can throw this away because that was just for sample purposes. And then you're gonna go ahead and fold it, just a little tab right here. And you see how it folds over just like that? You're just gonna go ahead and fold it over just like that. That way when I pull, it goes into the direction of the film and it should pull off nicely. If I flip it the other way, when you open it, it gets stuck on there, then you're trying to get the tape off, and then you can ruin the film, or at least ruin a little bit of a portion of it. Let me also go over how to read a box of window film. Last but not least. just to let you know, I don't script any of my videos, so sometimes it looks like I'm wrapping up and I'm not. So at the end of a box, you're gonna see this. You're gonna see this right here. I'm trying to kind of get it close right here for you. So you usually get the name of it, and this number is the VLT, or the visible light transmission. It's the shade in which the box is. So this is a Solstice 50. So this is a VLT of 50, which means the number represents the amount of light it lets in. So this is a 50%, so it's gonna let 50% of the light in. The lower the number, the darker the film. So limo would be 5, you know, and so forth and so forth. So on top of that as well, you're gonna have your the dimensions of the film. So this is a 40-inch box, and it's 100 feet. And they have a roll number, product number, SKU numbers. These things you don't really need to know. The roll number and the product number you might need for warranty purposes. You really just have to ask your manufacturer on that. But the main thing that you guys want to know is that this is gonna be the film style, like the name of the film itself, and the shade. And then here it's gonna say, you know, how wide it is and how long it is. 40 inches by 100 feet. That's not 100 inches, that's 100 feet. And again, you can get these in cut down versions, but you have to be able to read these so that, like, let's say you order film and you get it delivered, you wanna confirm that you got the film that you ordered. So name of the film, the shade or the VLT, the width and the length, and then the roll and product numbers you probably need for warranty work, but that's about it. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's how you, that's pretty much the basics on window film and window film boxes, and how to open it, and kind of just a rough overview. So if you guys have any questions or concerns, feel free to hit it in the comments below. Give it a like if you like this video. 2024 tutorial series is underway. Check out more videos.